Welcome to the Circus of Wayward Wonders. Welcome to Roll for Combat, Three-Ring Adventure.
Hey everyone, welcome to Roll for Combat, Three-Ring Adventure. I'm your GM and host, Stephen Glicker, and in this week's episode, we begin Extinction Curse, Book 3, Life's Long Shadows, by Greg A. Vaughn. That's right, the infamous Greg A. Vaughn. So, for those of you brand new to Roll for Combat, welcome. If you don't want to listen to the previous 80 episodes, you do not have to. I will have a very, very quick recap of everything that has occurred in episodes 1 through 80 right here and right now. Now, this is a very short recap, but if you want to have more details, you can always check us out in the Discord channel. Just go to discord.rollforcombat.com, go to the spoiler section. You can talk to myself or any of the other regular listeners if you have any questions or need to get caught up. But we've set this up so that you can jump in at the beginning of any book and know what is going on. Also, I do want to mention that this week was the 4-year anniversary of Roll for Combat, and if you listen to the intro on the Agents of Edgewatch podcast, I go through the whole history of how we all got together, how we all met, and how the Roll for Combat podcast came to be. I might have done this in the past because it's, been 350 plus episodes in 4 years, but who knows? I don't remember if I did it. I'm sure I did, but hey, things have changed and updated since the last time I did it, because probably the last time I did it, there was one podcast and there was definitely no Kickstarter. So we have updated and changed it. So expect a new one every year. So do check that one out. So those of you brand new, believe it or not, Book 3 is probably the best time to come in, because Book 1 is often an introductory to an adventure path, and you just learn about the world, the location, and sort of the setting. Book 2 is where the main story comes to life, and you find out, okay, what is the point of the adventure path, and what are the PCs actually trying to do? And Book 3 is where they actually start the adventure path in a lot of ways. Like, Book 1 and Book 2, I'd say, is where they do maybe the first quarter of the main adventure path, because there's a lot of intro, there's a lot of backstory, and it's sort of a lot of leading up into the main story. But you only usually find out the main story in the middle or the end of Book 2. So Book 3 is a great place to start. With that being said, real quick, here's what happened. So we started out with Book 1, The Show Must Go On, by Jason Tondreau. And we start off with our PCs. They are members of a circus called the Circus of Wayward Wonders. They recently left their old circus, the Celestial Menagerie, where they were sort of mistreated and did not enjoy being under the cruel Mistress Dusklight. So they left, they formed their own circus, and they decided to put on their very first show about a year after leaving the circus in the town of Aberton. And they called themselves the Circus of Wayward Wonders. They were about to start their show when suddenly the ringmaster is found dead. Dun, dun, dun! That's right, the ringmaster is found dead. There seems to be something about Paizo and killing dwarves, because that's also how Dead Sons started, which is kind of weird. Anyhow, they need to put on a successful show without the ringmaster, where they quickly learn the circus system, put on a successful show, and everyone is happy. Except they need to find out why and who killed the ringmaster. They do some investigation around the area. They find a halfling hiding out who was poisoning everyone, trying to kill everyone in the circus, and they have no idea why. They eventually investigate in town, find some demons of all things. This is where we start to find out about Alhara and a propensity to jump through stained glass windows. And we find out about Darius, and he seems to have this mark on him that seems to call to him and give him mysterious powers, but he has no idea what the heck it is. Eventually they find the demons are also trashing the town. They have no idea what's going on. They eventually find out that the halfling who killed the ringmaster was involved with a Gozrin temple outside town. So they go investigate that temple, and now that temple's filled with demons. So demons everywhere. They find out after they rescue the Gozrins that the halfling that was part of the Gozrin temple started to become very unhinged, because recently the area around the town was being affected by blight. Everything is dying. Like, the land is dying, the crops are failing, the water's drying up, and the halfling, she blamed the townspeople for not only this, but the orb on top of the Erin Tower was failing. Now, real quick history for those who don't know Galarian. There are 5 Erin Towers that have what's called an Aeon Orb. Now, the land of Erin and Kortos, this very, very large island, is pretty much dead. It's a dead land. It was brought up from the bottom of the sea by the god of Aradin, and then to give it life, he quote, found these 5 orbs. He brought them to the surface. He put them on top of these towers, and these orbs are responsible for making sure the Isle of Kortos and Erin always prosper. They pretty much keep the land alive. Without these orbs, everything will die because this place is a barren wasteland without the orbs. So the PCs go over to the tower and find out, sure enough, the orb is failing. The orb is really weak. There's something wrong with it. And this was made by a god who, by the way, is now dead. So if they can't fix this orb and find out what's going on, everyone's going to die. So they investigate the tower, and they learn that there's xulgaths. Xulgaths, aka troglodytes, from the inner parts of the earth have come to the surface and have taken over the tower and are trying to stop and corrupt the Aeon Orb. No one knows why. The heroes save the day, they kill the xulgaths, they restore the orb, and everything is peaceful. Eventually, by the end of Book 1, they finish up the circus, they head on out because they are done, and they need to go to a much bigger place. So they go back to the largest city nearby, and that is the city of Escadar, which is a port city. And that brings us to the book 2, and that is Legacy of the Lost God by Jenny Zarzespi. Now this is where things get a little hairy, because the city of Escadar also has the Circus of Wayward Wonders, which is where they ran away from. So they set up at the city, they find out that the cruel Mistress Dusklight and her Celestial Menagerie are a rival circus that must be crushed, but they also wanted to find out a little bit more about these Aeon Orbs and the Xulgath invasion. So they, perform a circus, they do a little investigation, and they find out that sure enough, something weird is going on in the city of Escadar. They eventually find an old temple to the dead god of Aradin called Moonstone Hall. They find that there's lots of demons there, and there's lots of Xulgaths down there. And more importantly, they find out that this is where the Xulgaths first invaded the land. They find a gigantic hole leading to the Underdark where the Xulgaths live, and they see visions of Xulgath leaders and their plans to find all 5 orbs and either take them back or destroy them, because it turns out that there were actually 6 orbs, and they belonged to the Xulgaths. And before Aradin stole them, the Xulgaths were actually a very peaceful, very prosperous, and quite advanced civilization. And they used those 6 orbs to sort of keep their society going. And the god Aradin popped down to the underworld, stole those 5 orbs, left them 1, because he figured, you only need 1 to survive. You don't need all 6. I'll use the other 5. Brought them to the surface, and then used them to power his lands up above. Guess what? 1 orb was not enough. 1 orb is not nearly enough for the Xulgaths to live. Their society deteriorated. They became the monstrous creatures that they're known today, and they are sick of it. They're done. They're going to invade the surface. They're going to steal or corrupt all the Aeon Orbs, and they're going to take them for themselves because the god Aradin is dead, and there's no one who can stop him. Plus, the Xulgaths have their god on their side, Zeb-Gevazeb, which is the god of demons, and he is helping them out to extract their vengeance. The PCs learn of this. They realize, uh-oh, this ain't good. we better help everyone, otherwise, well, this is sort of like the center of the hub of the world, and if Kortos dies, then everyone's going to die, and no one seems to know anything about this because everyone in Kortos seems to be too busy with their own problems or partying their brains out. So it's up to the heroes to find the towers and to stop the xulgaths and to make sure that none of the orbs get stolen or corrupted. Also, in the meantime, they also finally confront the cruel Mistress Dusklight, put an end to the Celestial Menagerie, the brother-sister combo of Darius Varys and Ahar Varys. Lots happened to them. They find their father, who has a lot of secrets to hide. It turns out that him and his wife, aka their mother, who's gone missing ever since they were babies, were actually secret mantis assassins. And on top of that, it looks like the god Ekachek is secretly talking to Darius and gave him magical powers so he can kill and assassinate people at will. So Darius is going through lots of weird changes, and he's becoming part man, part mantis assassin, who knows what. Alhara doesn't know what to feel about her brother and her long-lost mother, who she thought was dead all this time, and now it turns out that she actually was some secret elite ninja assassin who is probably still alive and out there. Hap, who is a sorceress, turned out that she was sold to the Celestial Menagerie and is actually half genie, and she's trying to find out what her parents and her whole deal is. And meanwhile, Atron, they are a witch of curses, and they have their own Mishigash, where they are very interested in finding out more of what happened to Aroden and the Islanti culture, which is a long-dead ancient culture, super powerful, super mysterious, and suddenly they are learning a lot more about Islanti culture and the Islantes, because all these orbs and these towers were made by the original Islanti, Aroden himself. So there we go. I know that was a lot. I just threw a lot at you, but where we're picking up is that the heroes just found out they have to go to the other temples and fix those orbs. But by the way, one of the orbs was stolen, so there's only 4 orbs remaining. They saved 1 orb. There's 3 more. The good news is those 3 are kind of near each other in an area called the Swarthlands, which is the breadbasket of the Isle of Kortos. So they're heading out over there. They're going to do some circus shows. They're going to meet some people. They're going to check out those towers, maybe save them. They are done with the Celestial Menagerie. They don't have to worry about her anymore. They arrested her and put her in her place. They have their father with them, so they can find out more about their history. And of course, we're going to find out what happened to Alhara and her mother. We're going to find out what happened to Darius and him sort of being the right arm of the god of assassins of Ekachek. We'll find out more about Hap and what her whole deal of being half genie is and if she'll ever find her parents. And Atron will finally get to learn all about the Islantes and his favorite dead god, Aroden. Woof, that was a lot there. But if you need another recap or have any questions, feel free to talk with me on the Discord channel, and I'll be happily go through all that with you. Or you could just listen to the past 80 episodes and listen to everything. That's right. All in amazing detail. I think if you listen to it at 1.5 speed, it won't take you that long. You know, maybe only a few weeks. Anyhow, with that, let's get to this week's show notes. So because I had a very long intro, show notes will be very quick. Do check out the Roll for Combat Kickstarter. It's still going on. Battles of Bestiary. We just added a stretch goal where there can be 44 new pages of Dragon. That's right. The Dragon Ancestries book has doubled in size, or who knows. It's become really big. Every single type of dragon you've ever seen or heard of or imagined can now be in the Dragon Ancestries book, plus 5 possible new dragons invented by us over at Roll for Combat. All I can tell you is that these dragons are called the Wild Dragons, the Wild Bunch, if you will. And they are going to be known as Wild, alright? So check those out. Check out the Discord channel if you want to come over and chat. Just go to discord.rollforcombat.com. Do check out the Patreon. For as little as $5, you can listen to us live whenever we record and chat with us and get all the episodes early and other fun free things. And of course, do check out the Roll for Combat website, and you can check out Jason's Talking Combat column, where he does a recap of every single episode, every single week at rollforcombat.com. Anyhow, with that, let's get to this week's exciting episode. Last we left off, you managed to put an end to Mistress Dusklight and her evil, evil circus. You managed to bring her to justice. You managed to free the acts from being under her thumb, taking many of them in. You also freed up your dad, Marcel, to join you and help out your circus instead of working with Mistress Dusklight. You also had to spend several weeks rebuilding your circus after she viciously attacked your circus and killed some poor animals, including, Bardolph. Poor Bardolph. But
Too soon.
At least Bardolph has a beautiful home in the grove near the beautiful pond and will forever be remembered.
He's such a sweet boy.
Lauren Sig is playing Hap, a human fire elementalist sorcerer.
Gone too soon. But
Isn't that where we found the other dead bear?
Vanessa Hoskins is playing Alhara Varys, a half-elf gymnast swashbuckler.
yes, it seems to be the bear burial ground. It's turning into a thing. It's like elephants, but only bears.
So it's the burial ground?
Rob Tremarco is playing Darius Varys, a half-elf monk of the mountain style.
It's the burial ground.
Oh my gosh.
Atron, you get an extra hero point for that one.
Yay!
What is this strange new generous Steven for this season?
It is me welcoming Rob back, since we have not spoken to him for so long that have to make it worth his while so he keeps coming back. In
Aw.
addition, you do have something else that Hap is upset about losing the bear, but she gained an elephant, and she's getting along famously with Gigi. Gigi the elephant. You're having a lot of fun with her. Gigi's a woolly mammoth. A lot of fun to hang out with
Well,
Gigi.
has Evora finally warmed up to me?
Evora is actually warmed up to you because we have been here for over a month. Over a month has gone by while you continuously repair your circus. You deal with the remnants of Mistress Dusklight. It turns out this Mistress Dusklight, who you didn't manage to capture, she was shipped off to Absalom. That is how serious her crime was, because they didn't feel that they can handle it here. So she is off to face the music, so to speak. So she is never, ever gonna show up. Ever
Wow,
again.
I feel bad. It's always hard to get cats in those cat carriers, so that must have been quite the fight.
Oof.
Should I give him another hero point?
No.
Can Atron have 3 in one
You
session?
should give us a hero point for enduring it.
I might have to. Maybe Riley could get a hero point, and but only Riley can
That's
use it.
cute. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Not going to happen yet. Anyhow, you also got a ton of loot, and you sold all that loot, more or less. You kept like 5 or 6 things. We won't go through the whole list. But in that time, a few things have happened. First of all, you're free. You're free. You're under the thumb of Mistress Dusklight. You don't have to worry about her. You can just put on your circus anywhere you want. The other thing is that you realize you have nowhere left on the Isle of Arran, because there's only really 2 towns here. There's Aberton and Escadar, and now you need to go somewhere new. And you have heard through various people coming in that Kerrick is probably a good place for you to go next. The reason is that Kerrick is on the western half of the Isle of Kortos. Kerrick is right in the middle of the Swardlands, and the Swardlands is where all the farming and the timber and other resource management is done for Absalom. They are a very large community, and there's tons of small towns around that part of the world, and they don't really see a lot of entertainment. They're actually extremely hardworking, and that would probably be an excellent place for you to bring some happiness and joy, because these people don't really get to go to big towns. They're very much a working industrial society. And Kerrick itself is a very, very busy port, so it's also an excellent place for you to set up shop and introduce your act to the rest of the Isle of Kortos, because you're still not even close to being big enough to go to Absalom. Absalom, no, you were not going to make it there. Not yet. So that is a good place. However, before we get into that, a few other things happen. Darius.
Yes? Rob Tremarco is playing Darius Varus, a half-elf monk of the mountain style.
Darius, or should I say Sweetrad?
Bum, bum, bum.
Oof.
Scary.
Pet Cemeterius.
Yeah, ooh.
Good one.
Okay, Hap can get not Hap, actually Riley can get a hero point for Pet Cemeterius. I like that. Pet Cemeterius. You still don't feel yourself. Like, you're just not quite as jolly, not quite as fun as you used to be. I mean, you're trying, but you just become a lot more serious.
Yeah, I'm definitely preoccupied with the whole situation. It's always on my mind, you know?
Mm-hmm. And you're having very fitful sleep, very fitful slumber. You're not seeing anything yet, but you are having difficulty sleeping. You believe there's nightmares going on, but you can't remember any of them, and you often wake up in a cold sweat. But so far, no one has visited you. You've not seen your friend since, but you definitely are uncomfortable in your own skin.
At some point, Darius will go to Alhara and ask, Alhara,
What?
in the morning, I would like to train some speed drills with you. Trying to remember, get back into the groove of combat.
Sure. Anyone's allowed to join me. You don't need to ask permission.
Well, I would need you to assist me.
I mean, I do my exercises every morning. If you want to join, you can. I'm not going to stop you.
Well, it's not like I'm doing them alongside you. I need you to be my partner. Is that okay, or shall I find somebody else?
No, I can do it, I guess.
Thank you. Out of character, I'm getting standstill back, so I need to help retrain that.
Out of character, it's nothing personal.
I understand.
Out of character, let's go into what you did in character. Ooh. So, a few other things. There's a lot that's happening. You have become level 9.
Woo!
Ta-da! Now, we have done something here at Roll for Combat, and rather than me explain it, why don't one of you explain this glorious new day, the start of a new era for Pathfinder 2 and Roll for Combat, how you build your characters. Go for it, somebody.
Lauren, I think you should do the honors, since you were the one who
I would
convinced
agree.
Stephen to enact this new change.
I wanted to do the honors, but I didn't think I'd get to. That's so kind. All right, everyone, listeners at home, I have a theory, a headcanon, if you will. I think that Pathfinder 2 was meant to be played with the optional rule called Free Archetype from the GMG. Under this rule, at every level, you get an additional class feat that can only be spent for an archetype or a dedication feat. I kind of headcanon it that you get a class feat and an archetype feat, but I mean, technically you could get 2 archetype feats if you wanted to, right? And the reason I like this so much, I think that this is central to Pathfinder because it doesn't really power creep your math at all, or at least it doesn't have to, but it really lets you kind of flesh out a character a little bit more. And for example, I think we're going to go down the list and kind of tell you how this changed our characters a little bit. For Hap, this just meant that I kind of was able to take more of the more flavorful feats that I wasn't able to take earlier. Like the ones from Sorcerer and from Beastmaster. For example, instead of having to cast Speak with Animals all the time, I took Wild Empathy from the Beastmaster, which makes so much sense for her, you know? On top of that, I got Entreat with Forebears, which is going to be absolutely useless. I get +1 to Diplomacy, Deception, and Intimidation check with genies. I'm sure that's going to be so useful. I took Cross-Butted Evolution. Now this is really cool. To take spells, bloodline spells, from the genie spell list. So now, Hap's spell list is literally just a combination of the fire spell list and the genie spell list. Yeah, so this is a really cool rule that I think should honestly be in every Pathfinder 2 game.
Yeah, it's part of the, was it
The GMG Game Master Guide?
Game Master's Guide.
Yeah, it's part of the game mastery guide, and it sort of has caught fire to the point that even the game tools that allow you to build your characters often now have it as an option, and it's just a free archetype. So instead of you having to spend your level 2 feat on getting an archetype, you just get it. You get it right away in the beginning. And to be honest, the math on Pathfinder 2 is already so hard, and they're not going to make it easier anytime soon. This just helps make it a little bit easier, especially at the lower levels, and it also allows you to even further develop your character in such a unique way. And one of the strongest aspects of Pathfinder already is that everyone can build a character, and everyone's character is pretty different from one another. I've already seen several monks that are very different. I've seen several sorcerers. I've seen several wizards, and they're significantly different from one another. This is yet more ability to make your character very unique.
Well, Gomez is an elementalist sorcerer, and he couldn't be any different than Hap, huh?
Yes, exactly. And this just allows you to go even deeper. And there can be the possibility of power creep if you have power gamers, but as a GM, you got to be careful of that.
Lies! How dare you!
Speaking of power gamers, I guess Vanessa can go next.
What are you trying to imply?
I'm actually not applying you at all, but
I am.
Oh, okay. Well, it can happen. It can if you really go down a route of just attacks and just damage and nothing but that. So you do have to take it with a grain of salt that if you do this in your game, I would specify that it's meant to build up your character in terms of story and ability and background, and not necessarily to get more attacks and more feats. And to be honest, because of the 3-action system and the way reactions work, I have been seeing this happen, especially in higher level games. You get like 3 or 4 reactions, great. You only get to use one around, and you start realizing you almost have too much. And it
unless you're a rogue with preparation.
Well, you do get analysis paralysis where you almost have too much to do, and you can't get to use everything. So it is, the system kind of, at least so far, seems to be self-balancing and self-correcting so far. But with that, who wants to go over their new characters and explain how they've changed? Because you've been here for so long. Since you've been here for about a month, there's plenty of time to retrain and update your character. So everyone's character is now slightly different than before. Not only do they have a new archetype, but some of you have even retrained, aka Darius, who was trying to get back some of his old abilities. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, sure. So for the archetype, what I've done is I've put that power that he had received from Achikek into that vein. So all those spells, the key stuff, and all the nifty clerical sort of energies go down that archetype, which freed up a bunch of things for regular Darius. So I'm getting back some cool monk things. Among them will be the standstill ability. So if someone tries to move or stand up, I get it. Give them a little whack. If I critical, they don't go anywhere. And also whirling throw, right? So I can grab something, then try and throw it somewhere. And also a little Titan wrestling, so I can throw some big things. Because I really do want to throw a dinosaur into somebody. And then, I don't know if you remember the last time, but all those abilities like I have for the Achikek kind of agent or whatever are still there, like the key strike and the spell, like a couple of spells, true strike, invisibility, heroism, and like some of my weapon. There's a weapon surge ability which gives me extra damage when I punch. Still there, and I think I squeezed out a little medicine, little extra medicine. So I have robust recovery, which means when I treat disease or poison, the success gives a +4, and a success counts as a critical success. So a little boost there. So that's where I'm at. That's gonna help.
That's super cool. That essentially doubles your ability to heal with battle medicine and such.
Yeah. So that's Darius. Or Sweerad.
Sweerad. Why does Alhara go next?
All right, so I joked a little bit about being power gamey. only because I did get a significant amount of ability from doing this. However, it's for pretty good reason. One of the things is that when I built Alhara, she's very fast, she's very mobile, but she didn't really do like a ton of damage compared to, say, Darius with his big old 2d8 unarmed strikes. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to do 2d4 and a little bit of precision damage. So it helps her keep pace with the mobile striker that she's always meant to be. That said, instead of Staff Acrobat at 2nd level, I went ahead and took the Rogue dedication. Part of that is because Staff Acrobat is not designed with this free variant rule in mind. And it does have like everything up through level 10, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But some of these are abilities that I already get from other feats and stuff that are just a waste, right? They're not doing anything, and they're not things I'm going to use, and they don't really go for what we're looking for, which is really increasing the flavor of the character. So instead I went with Rogue dedication, which was originally my first choice in multi-class dedications before I saw Staff Acrobat and all the cool flavor it leads. So here's what we did. We started off with Rogue dedication, which is pretty cool. I took Sneak Attacker, which is pretty darn neat. So I get a little extra precision damage when foes are flat-footed. So that'll help just overall increase my damage output. That allowed me to take Swaggering Initiative from Swashbuckler, which is pretty darn cool. So I've basically got +2 to initiative almost no matter what at this point. And I can pull a weapon as part of initiative. So I can be like, aha, I'm ready to go. I got, along with Attack of Opportunity at level 6, I also got Quick Draw from Rogue. So I took Basic Trickery and took Quick Draw. So now if I'm in the middle of the fight and I need to switch weapons, right? Oh, that is a demon? Oh, let me pull out the Cold Iron Pick. Or I want to pull out my my dagger, which is now a throwing knife, and throw it at some enemy. I can do that. And it's not like, oh, wait, let me switch to ranged. 1 action to pull it out, 1 action to throw it. I can just get right into the fight. At 8th level, I took Staff Acrobat dedication, so it's still in the build, but I don't have any room for Staff Sweep anymore. Instead, I have room for Bleeding Finisher. So instead of just Confident Finish, I have Bleeding Finish, which does a ton of persistent damage, and it is going to be perfect for those really big, hard-to-kill enemies that I just need to take down. And last but not least, I actually grabbed a 3rd dedication at 9th level, Martial Artist dedication, where, Alhara has been watching Darius move and some of the things he does to get a lot of power out of his punches, and she's been mimicking some of those, training on her own, and now has D6 fist attacks, so she's going to be doing pretty darn good.
We trained together. It's helping. It's
Aww.
helping. I want to help.
Up until recently, when things changed, sure.
Sure.
Brother, you're a bit different than you were before.
Still Darius.
Remains to be seen.
Strong and growing?
Yep, that's me.
So what did Hap get?
Oh, no, I did all mine. That's it. That's what I get. I could talk better to genies, entreat with forebears. I could have wild empathy so I can communicate with animals without having to use the spell to do it. I took cross-blooded evolution so that I can add all of the genie bloodline spells into my bloodline spells. So that's kind of a big deal.
Nice one.
And they're not even useful spells, really. When you look at them, it's Enlarge. I can cast Enlarge on Darius. That's not going to come up very often.
Ooh, yeah, I want to be big.
I can cast Enthrall, which fascinates everyone that sees you. But Fascinate doesn't do anything in 2E, so it's not super relevant. They're the genie spells. And, I really want Genie to start coming out. I want it to, as she gets more and more leveled up, I want her to become more and more unrecognizable from the level 1 Hap. To where now, by level 20, she's just this full-on, Ifrit Hap. This just helps me do that.
Well, what about, last but not least, Ataran, who, from what I can tell, is slowly on the path of learning every spell in Pathfinder.
Oh my goodness.
Ataran is certainly delving into all the magical secrets that they can. So, Ataran had already been working with their Book of Shadows, where they commonly took notes and wrote up details of everything that they had experienced since they left Nadal. They took time with the Knights of the Aeon Star at the monastery of St. Sarnax, since they'd been already working with the Knights, with their time there to flesh out the spellbook that they were making. So with the free archetype, Otteron now has talents with up to 3rd level arcane spells through wizardry. I chose not to invest further into the sorceress spellcasting that Otteron had developed because that's something Otteron's really exploring as they adventure. Where does that divine power truly come from? Where studying, because Otteron is rather brilliant, and realizing that more as they get more exposure to the world and other people, that comes rather naturally. So developing that spell book and pretty much focusing on some useful utility spells and adding to the versatility was where they focused. Of course, being level 9, also, Otteron got to pick up an ancestry feat and picked up multi-talented, which, while I could have tried to pick up something primal and make it even more diverse, that's not really where Otteron has focused yet, and I picked up an alchemist multi-class in order to really show the investment that Otteron continues to have in their brewing and their alchemy, which we've already seen a number of times, especially their work at the circus. So that'll make it a bit easy to make some quick alchemy on the fly. Of course, there was some skill benefits of picking up another multi-class too, and I really just chose to have Otteron lean into their athleticism, having to adventure so much, but also working with Alhara. It's hard to avoid and not be excited seeing her and everything she practices and does every day.
Hoorah!
Yeah. There's a bit of spell casting learned, of course, as an actual witch for 5th level spells now, which will be useful. I'll wait till those actually come up in-game to focus on those. But otherwise, Otteron is, much as they were, just continuing to learn and develop their spellcasting talents as they explore the greater world beyond Nadal.
Wait, did 3 of us, or did all of us take multi-talented to get an extra dedication fee at 9th?
Well, I did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did Sweerad take multi-talented at 9?
No.
Okay, so yeah, 3 of us did. Because I picked up Bard so that I can start going back into Hap's roots where I wanted her to be like a Bard pyrokineticist.
It's a great feat.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier to tell an interesting character story.
And it's the flavorfulness that's I think what we've already seen through the free archetype and just our evolution and maturation through the different leveling that we've done is things that have come up in game that we've been role playing are just more easily reflected now through the options we've been able to take.
Yeah, my original plan never included a wolf, but here we are.
Yeah, well, that came up through the story, and it's rather adorable. So
he's the goodest boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, a month or so has gone by. We'll say a little bit more than a month. Time to move on. Before you leave your beloved Escadar, where there's so many food options, boy, are you gonna miss all them foods. What do you wish to do, anyone, before it's time to head on off to the next town and put it on the show to new people?
I would definitely like to go to Larry's Lukewarms and get like a crate full of wraps and other sandwiches, maybe some potato salad, and bring that all back to the circus for us to have like a good meal while we're on the ship heading over to the Isle of Cortos.
Larry's Lukewarm, who now knows all of you quite well, especially Alhara. You know, Alhara, if you take all of this and if you put it into a bag of holding, because of the superior lukewarm flavor of my ingredients, it will continue to hold the perfect flavor even if you eat it weeks later, because the bag of holding should keep it fresh at all times.
I did not understand that property of the bag of holding. I have one right here. So in that case, we're heading on the ship in a week. If you can get me like 17 cases of wraps and sandwiches and potato salad, you know, I'll come every day with as much as you're able to make and buy it off of you, so we've got it for the road.
Yeah, it's not that time stops inside of a bag of holding. It's that it doesn't really have much air, so there's no bacteria or other things inside of a bag of holding to really make the food go rotted. And unlike Halen's hot or Caleb's cold. You don't have to worry about the temperature of my food, hence the superiority of Larry's lukewarms.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Fantastic. Well, I'll take as much as you can make in the next week, and I'll come over daily to pick it up.
Excellent. I will have crates ready for you, and do spread the word. And by the way, if you want to open up a franchise while you're over there,
No.
Kerrick.
I don't have time for that.
Oh, okay. Well, if you ever want to have a franchise or maybe a Larry's Lukewarm Stands in the circus, you just let me know. We'd be happy to make arrangements because, it's easy. Lukewarm food, you don't have to worry about refrigeration. You don't have to worry about heating.
No,
You
that's
just
true.
make it and you're ready to go. Superior in every way.
Hamlin storms out of his store.
Oh no.
You have no idea. Lukewarm is the bottom of the barrel. You have to put that on a ship. You have to, because nothing keeps on a ship. Nothing. You have to cook something fresh to make it delicious. You have to accept lukewarm as the bottom level of food.
I don't know. These chicken anchovy wraps are pretty good.
Yeah, they're
Well,
fine.
well,
If you like
gross.
garbage, enjoy your trip. Thank you for your business. F you, Larry. And he goes back into the restaurant. Then Caleb comes out. What he said, and he goes back into his restaurant.
We have truly left this town a better place.
Mr. Larry, how do you handle spicy food that even though it's room temperature, it still tastes hot?
Well, we get all these special ingredients. We get these spices and peppers, and we put it inside the food to add a little flavor to it. That way you don't actually have to make the food hot. By making the food spicy, it acts as if it has heat inside of it. None of that artificial heat that the other two have to worry about, and coldness, Ooh, they don't know what they're talking about. They're hampered by temperature, while I am free to experiment in all the various spices and flavors because temperature is not my mistress.
I'm gonna go have lunch at Hamlin's Hots. That guy gets me.
Alhara just is happy to know that she's got essentially infinite rations, at least for the next several months.
Right?
If you don't mind lettuce wraps, because you're gonna
mean,
get so tired
Right,
of that.
exactly. You're like, oh, here we go. I got
Yeah, but
wraps.
she doesn't have to eat it. It's just like, hey, everyone who wants some
You don't even
coleslaw.
have to eat it. You brought
O'Hara's
the
just like,
worst
what is
food
this?
for us.
I don't even know what this is anymore. Wrap? What do you call this? What do you put on a plate?
I know what it is. I'm just
I
not
would
going to
like
bother eating. I'm buying this
Ford?
for you.
How do you?
This
What is this again?
supposed to be
Flube?
something I'm doing
What do you call this stuff you put in your
for
mouth and
my
swallow?
friends
Maybe
and
this
maybe
is
my
the
Flarb.
right time to interject that I can now magically create food. The taste will be pretty much
What?
bland and terrible, but it will be very nourishing for you.
O'Hara pulls out one of the wraps and just throws it at Darius.
Catch it. I don't want to wrap.
I want to say goodbye to the Knights of Eridan. It doesn't have to be a big deal, though. Just on the way out, just,
Yeah,
hey, we're
Atron definitely
leaving.
does as well.
You show up at the Knights of Eridan, and they're so sad to have you leave, but they completely understand, and they go on to explain. Well, I hear you're going to Kerrick. Yes, Kerrick. Do you need any help or information? We can give you some basic information if you want, and help you prepare for your trip. We're so sad to see you go. This has been the most exciting month I can ever remember. This has been years since we've had so much excitement with you around. Oh, we're gonna miss you so much.
Atron would nod to Hap and then back to the knights. Yes, I think that would be very helpful. Thank you.
You guys have been so helpful. Like, my life has totally changed just from meeting you and being so kind to me, so thank you.
Our lives too. We didn't even know we wanted a daughter. You're the daughter we never had, and Atron, you're the son we've never had. Oh. And they're just crying. And then Riley comes over and starts licking their faces, like, and you're the dog we never had. Oh, and they're like all petting Riley and giving him treats.
Yes, child anyway, but thank you. I appreciate your sentiments, yes. You have been very good, not that I knew my father, Parents, I do not know, but you have been very kind and generous, and thank you for your help.
Here, we put together a little going away basket for you. And there's like every sweet Otteron could imagine is like in there. In fact, there's probably 20 pounds of chocolate and hard candy and sugary treats and lollipops and every single thing you can think of is inside this basket.
Thank you. I will think of you before I finish it all on the trip, I'm sure.
Oh, you should make sure you share some of that with Hap. And and they look at each other like, did we label the dog biscuits for Riley? And then they're like, oh, well, some of those are dog biscuits. I'm sure you'll figure it out on the way. But yeah, they're in there somewhere. I think we forgot to label them, but don't worry. None of it will hurt you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes, but try not to give any of the sugary treats to Riley. He'll be upset for his stomach.
Yes, I will make sure to check everything first for safety.
And here, and they give you a map. And sure enough, the map is very helpful of the Swordlands, which is where you're heading to. And they say, yes, you're going to Kerrick. You know, Kerrick is a very interesting town. It's very modest in size, but it's a very, very busy port, as it is the provider of the hinterlands by boat in the city of Absalon and beyond of many, many foodstuffs and timber and other materials. If you look here, and they show you, see here's Kerrick, and there's many, many smaller towns all around. And if you see to the east, this is where the farmlands are, and to the southeast, that is the Great Emerald, where they cut down and they get the large timber to make some of the largest ships in the world. It's really quite an amazing place. I believe Aradin purposely designed this part of the world so that it was very easy for us to access so many natural resources. And Kerrick itself is right on a river near the hills. It's perfectly located. And they start going on and on about how genius Aradin was of actually putting such a perfectly designed area for humans to utilize in the Isle of Kortos.
Did they want to come with us?
Oh, no. We have so much work here. We've learned so much between all the artifacts you brought us and the Moonstone Hall that we're going to be probably spending the rest of our lives just studying in the Moonstone Hall library. It's been so interesting and fascinating now that it's been rediscovered. Yes. But thank you.
Maybe we'll write you some letters of correspondence. Let you know what we find.
Oh, please do. Yes, we would love that. Yes.
Yes, I should probably learn how to cast sending so I can contact you. I will make that a priority.
Oh, please do. Well, farewell. We will miss you terribly, but if we need you, we will have means of getting in contact with you, don't worry. As we also, don't forget, have many magical, mystical arts. And with that, he does a little flare in the air, and nothing happens. And then he's like, and mystical arts! And he tries it again, and nothing happens. And he's like, did I forget to learn the right spell today? And he starts muttering and going off into the distance.
Otteron just smiles graciously and bows their head before looking to Hap and heading out.
Yep, let's head out.
All right.
Anyone else? I think Darius might have to say goodbye to Kat.
No. She became weird.
You don't even leave a note?
Wow.
No, she was weird in the first place. It was a three-way, and then she got all emotional about it. Red flag. Sorry, bye.
Wow. Gotta be careful with those catch and feels.
Sweet rad. Damn, man.
Nah.
It's okay.
Heartbreaker.
He's turning into an assassin anyway.
It's the circus life for him.
Yep, cutting off all those personal connections. What could go wrong?
There's no weddings. There's no permanence.
Can't plan for the long term when your soul's bound to some evil deity. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
When did it become weird? That's what I want to know.
the next, like, it was like a couple of days later, and like she was all like, "Oh, you didn't call," you know, like it was very, like, ugh, no way.
Didn't even text.
No one's gonna be holding Darius down.
I'm on Darius's side. She was a little too into it, and that
Right,
definitely
like
just
she was a
speaks to, like,
fan who wanted
emotional
to touch his
stability.
muscles
Yeah.
and is weirdly obsessed with him.
Yeah.
He had a nice, fun night, and then she made it weird. So
It got real creepy.
it got creepo, and let's go to another island. Thanks.
Wow. Darius, heartbreaker. He's leaving heartbreak and
Whew.
island and port city after city. All right, well, good thing Muscle Fancy really didn't leave too many islands or areas. We'll find
Yeah, it
out.
was just that. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe he did a lot of posing for artists, so who knows what magazines they'll find in the new place.
That's true, but you were based in Escadar, so they
Right,
knew
right.
pretty
Yeah.
well here. So maybe your fame has preceded you. I guess we'll find out.
Uh-oh.
Indeed.
We need to hire security.
He is the security.
I am security.
That's the worst part. He's guarding his own body.
Security for security.
hmm
Okay.
That's like being a security guard or a bodyguard for The Rock.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got him.
Oh, I know he does.
Anyone else? Otherwise, it's off to sea we go. Land ho, bo ho, do 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 do. Nope.
Yep.
Okay. You also sold a whole bunch of stuff. You bought some stuff. We'll go through that when you're fighting. People have new spells, new abilities, new runes, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, with that, you load everyone up onto the boat. You got all the new acts. You got all the animals. You got Marcel's coming with you, the professor. And you head off, and sure enough, on the dock, you see Kat. And she's like, Darius, I'll miss you. And she's like throwing kisses to you and kisses. And she's like, and I'll tell you the name of the baby after it's born. Bye.
If she's blowing kisses, I'm gonna use mage hands to smack her kisses out of the air. I got you, Ariel.
Wow.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye, Darius. Bye. And she's like crying, and she's all upset.
They're there.
What
Well,
have you
she's
learned?
no. This is like you're on the ship.
Oh, she's like goodbye, like waving with a handkerchief.
Yeah. She's waving. She's waving while you're like on the ship.
Oh, so she's wearing one of the customary large hats that you're supposed to wear when you wave goodbye to people on a ship.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Just making
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Otherwise, she'd have to be arrested.
Yes. No, she is. Everyone's waving because that's just something you do when ships leave. People wave. So you're hearing all.
We're
this
gonna
as you're
wave
leaving.
back.
And you hear in the background, does somebody have flight? Can someone cast flight on me and bring me to the ship of my lover?
Ready the arbalest.
I wish they would.
Oh my goodness.
Load cannons.
No, no one brings her up on that offer.
O'Hara pulls out her throwing knife and like keeps it up in the air, ready
Wow.
to throw it at her.
Gust of wind. She crashes into the ocean.
Poor cat.
Yeah.
Another successfully performed circus, and many hearts were broken. Off to a new town and break new hearts. Here we go.
Cue music.
Do.
So the voyage is not that long. It's actually just a few hours because Escadar is only a couple of 100 miles from Kerrick. It's like a long day, but it's not that long. I mean, it's only looking at it.
It's like taking the train to New York City, which I haven't done in like a year and a half.
It's 150 miles,
Nice.
so it's not that long. It doesn't take that long to do. And you're on a pretty big ship, so we'll say a day.
Nice.
Cool.
So you get to Kerrick. Kerrick? Let's see.
Yeah. Any distinguishing features as we approach? Like a giant statue in the water, or giant ancient. Well, we wouldn't see anything Thessalonian, but who knows?
I don't know. Let me
Is
see.
there like a big stone circle with a bunch of runes in it?
No. I mean, we could go there. Maybe go to the Gold Goblin. Eh?
What the hell are you guys on about?
Riddleport.
I have
Oh,
no
okay.
idea what you're talking about either.
This is what happens when you're in Galarian far too much.
Riddleport.
And the Cipher Gate.
Yeah.
Before you get there, as you know from just talking to the knights, that Kerrick is a settlement. It's got a little less than 4,000 people. It's mostly humans, but it also has a good mixture of halflings and half-elves and other ancestries. Their primary exports, they're fruit, grain, livestock, lumber, and vegetables. They are very active in supplying all of those to the city of Absalom, as well as all the nearby cities within the Isle of Kortos, as well as other nearby areas. But they are the breadbasket for Absalom. Without Kerrick and the Swartlands, Absalom would starve, because this is where everything comes from. So, you are approaching the city of Kerrick, and the docks are bustling as your vessel arrives, and you can see that the town itself does not look very large, but the port is gargantuan, especially in comparison to the size of this town, because as you know, this is a port city and everything seems to come and go via the port. So this is a bustling city port. You arrive at the port and they are getting ready, and Daddy Darius will take care of organizing all the animals, and he asks for you, or tells you, to go ahead and look to secure some land or somewhere to actually put the circus. He wasn't too worried, since this is an area of farmland and there's a lot of open, flat land. He wasn't too concerned about this beforehand. So you are in the bustling town. What do you do?
Unless someone knows who we should be talking to for our land area for our circus, I think we should ask around, find the right city official, maybe?
Yeah. Is there a harbor master we can talk to who might know where to point us?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yes, you go over to the harbor master, but the harbor master is extremely busy loading and unloading various ships, especially yours, because yours has such a wide variety of cargo with circus animals and the like. And suddenly, through the bustle of the town docks, a distinctive figure appears. He is a human of medium height and middling age, with thinning salt and pepper hair swept back from his brow. Above bushy eyebrows, he has thick mutton chop sideburns and a neatly trimmed mustache above a smooth-shaven chin. He wears the somber formal garb of a solicitor or an undertaker. A small flower pinned to his lapel is a sullen shade of purple. His eyes sweep the crowd as if searching out someone, only to align onto you, as he immediately smiles and raises his ornate walking cane in salutations. Says, "Ah, greetings, a circus of wayward wonders. May I introduce myself?" And he comes over and he does a very elaborate bow. He says, "I am Oper Vandy. I am the master of Kerrick Grange and mortician to the good people of Kerrick and its surrounding. I believe you are the members of the circus, are you not?"
We are.
Yes, that is us.
"Oh, that is so good to hear. Please, please." And he's like, he's trying to like usher you into the city and getting out of the way of all the bustling docks and everything.
And Atron will start to follow, watching the others. Can I make a perception check to get a feel for his like attitude and his guarding of us? All right.
Yep. He seems to be completely sincere and doesn't seem to have any bones in his bodies that actually would hide anything from what you can tell.
All right.
And as you meet him, he takes a handkerchief, and it's the same color as his boutonniere, and he starts mopping his
Ooh.
brow, and he goes, yes, I've heard all about you from Escadar, and I am the head of the local agricultural association, and I thought that having a traveling circus in this area would be wonderful for both the economy and the morale of the people of the Swordlands. And then he sort of says this like under his breath, though, times have been really bad lately, so this is an excellent time for some good, wholesome fun. And this just might be the thing to put the spring back in people's step. And in light of that, and hearing of your arrival, I have taken the opportunity to secure land for you in the surrounding area so you can put on a show for the people of Kerrick.
Well, thank you very much for you have saved us time then and a lot of help. And I am sure we will be able to help Kerrick and the surrounding lands. It's something we care much about, partially why we are here besides the circus, yes? And Atron looks to the others.
Yeah, the Circus of Wayward Wonders will dazzle and delight, young and old alike. So, I was curious about this area. Do you have any, athletic competitions? Any sports?
Oh no, I'm quite sorry. We have nothing of the sort. Everyone here really works very hard, and everyone has such back-breaking jobs being farmers and lumberjacks and the like. There's nothing like that. Although there is a festival coming up nearby in a week or so. I believe they have such activities in the nearby festival that you could visit if you so like. I'm sure they would also very much enjoy your circus.
Is there a way we could have a booth in the festival? Or like a stage so we could maybe do a little performance there?
Yes. Why don't I, and he goes on to explain. He's like, well, why don't I have dinner with you tonight at my house, and I can give you the lay of the land, as there's not just the community of Kerrick. There's so many small towns in the Swordlands. I believe that you should probably perform in various towns nearby. I think you should be able to put on shows in 3 or 4 distinct locations to get the maximum spread. So I will go back and study the maps, and then tonight I could explain this to you, and we can go over it. That way you can get the biggest bang for your buck, if you will.
We wish to go to the festival.
Yes. Maybe they have something with throwing the large timber and wood.
Yes, maybe,
you can do this. Yes.
Wood-based activities.
Yes, they have many activities at the festival. But as I said, that's not for a couple more weeks, and that's actually not here. That's over in...
That line was just for the musical theater fans out there.
Yes, there's the Stump Festival at Turpin Rove, and I presume that would be an excellent place for you not to have a booth, but to set up your entire circus, and it's not for a few more weeks, so you have plenty of time to prepare. You could put on a show here, perhaps, and then head on over to the Stump Festival, and, both partake in the festival and put on your show. I think that would be an excellent idea.
Oh, 2 shows in 2 weeks. I bet we could pull it off.
Yes. Here, let me help you. And he heads over to the dockmaster and talks to him very quickly. And suddenly, the dockmaster snaps his fingers, and you see 3 times more men and women starting to unload your ship, and it seems to be going at a rapid pace to make sure everything is taken care of for your circus and all the members of the circus.
Oh, please be gentle with that ostrich. He has a sensitive stomach.
Yes. I of course will arrange temporary housing for the circus personnel, equipment, animals, and assorted paraphernalia until you can get yourselves organized on the parcel of land that we picked out for you.
Thank you. Upper Vandy? Mr. Vandy? Yes?
Yes. You may call me Mr. Vandy or Upper.
Yes, we will graciously accept this dinner, and will be very I'm thankful for information of the other towns around here. It seems your interests in us will be very good for your town and your people's celebration if they are working so hard. But we are also thankful for the assistance of the local areas. So thank you. I do not wish you to think we are only focused on this contest. We want to entertain your people as much as we learn of them and their lands.
Yes. As I said, it would be excellent opportunity for you to help out the many people in this part of the world, as they've been working so hard and things have been going so poorly for the farmers and loggers of this area that it really, really would be something to take their mind off their troubles.
Yes.
And let me bring you over to the market square on the outskirts of town. This is where we hold seasonal festivals and market fairs, and this would be an excellent place for you to put on your circus. And as this town is not that large, it'll literally only take you like 5 minutes to get over there.
Oh
10
boy.
minutes. It's really close, so you don't have to worry about it.
Hopefully we will help make everything easier for your people and the lands here.
So sure enough, he goes right on the outskirts of town. It's a perfect location, completely flat, no evil forests or bogs or anything else nearby. It's actually very clear to see in every direction. Plus, if you put up your big tent right here, ships coming in will be able to see it from the sea. So it's like a perfect location for you to put your circus.
And it means it's close to all the restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
He says, so these market grounds belong to the Kerrick Grange, but I've arranged for them to be let out to you for the bargain price of just 5 silver per night, provided that you buy all supplies and labor needs locally from Kerrick. Now, I imagine you're going to be doing that anyhow, so this is just a formality.
Sure.
That sounds reasonable.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. And he shakes each of your hands very vigorously. He says, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see your show. Please feel free to advertise. And if you want to put up some posters, I'll give you a list and tell you where the best places to advertise are. And everyone will know all about it. I'm sure your first show will be a smashing success. Now,
That is very much appreciated. I do not mean to cut you off, but can I ask you of... We have seen some xulgaths activity lately. Are there xulgaths known to be in this area by chance?
xulgaths. Are those lizard people?
They mostly subterranean people, which actually a long time ago they had a larger civilization here, but suffice to say there have been some dangerous tribes or groups that have been active. So just if you heard of anything related to xulgaths...
or smell of anything related to xulgaths.
Yes, you would certainly smell. Please let us know.
I can't say that I have. I mean, we've had many problems here, mostly with crops failing and other issues, but nothing like attacks or xulgaths, as you call them. No, nothing like that. All of our problems seem to be nature-related.
Oh, yes. If you have maps or direction to the Aeon Towers, that would be good too.
Yes, the Aeon Towers. Interesting. Okay, yes. Is there anything else you need? I'll make sure I arrange all that for tonight's dinner, that you have what you need. As I said, I'll put together a list of towns and give you a map of the area, but is there anything else?
Perhaps any known entrances or exits underground, particularly to various Shadowlands?
Come on, Atron, we can do this later. We just got off the boat. I'm tired.
Shadowlands.
Well, if he is preparing maps, these will be good for us to know as we travel.
Oh, but it's so boring.
Yeah, but it's prudent. We have work to do besides just the circus, you know.
I just do not wish us to be unprepared, and if he is offering to help so we can also help the people, this is good to know.
Well, I don't know any of this, but sure, I'll ask around. I'll see if the mayor knows anything or some of the other local leaders, but no, that's nothing I'm really aware of. But yes, I'll do what I can to help you out tonight.
Thank you. It is very appreciated.
So excellent to meet you. We're very excited to have you here. A circus in our town. Who would have thought? Oh, I'm very excited. You're going to have the best dinner tonight, the best food you can imagine. Make sure you bring your appetites.
I always do.
Great, thank you very much. And I meant Darklands, not Shadowlands. I'm sorry, it has been a long day. Travel, tired, sorry.
Thank you. A good day. And he does a very large, elaborate bow and disappears quickly into the crowd. And you are kind of left on your own in the open area. And sure enough, the circus is sort of appearing behind you, and you can see that they're being organized and ushered by dockhands into various houses and stables and other areas. And it looks like this guy really was prepared for you.
I hope he is purely interested in our help. And Ataran's like looking to the other three kind of intently, setting up so much for us already. I mean, I'm sure people get excited about the circus, but hopefully he is hoping we will help with some of the other problems. It is a lot of work that he has done already.
Well, it would make sense to help him with some of these other problems, and plus, as we get to know the locals, maybe we'll find out a little bit more about what's been going on and see if any of them have seen or smelled any xulgath.
Yes, I'm hoping maybe he can ask, and if they are ahead of us and have already traveled here or had to, who knows how the caverns work between the two islands, then hopefully we will hear before they do anything too disastrous.
So everyone seems to be getting settled in. You have a few hours before you need to meet Mr. Vandy at Vandy House. What a fortuitous name. So what do you do?
I guess we start helping set up at our new site, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, that seems to be the first order of business. Is
Survey
just make
the
sure-
area.
Survey and make sure it's safe. Last site we got had a bunch of problems with it.
That's a good idea. We do have carnies or like circus folk who can set everything up. We can kind of walk around town and get a lay of the land and stuff.
We should at least look at where that's going to be and manage that process for about an hour. Make sure it seems safe there. And if there are any threats there, we'll take care of them because we're the heroes after all.
Well, we are there, aren't we? Didn't Vandy take us there?
Yeah, you're there, and you look around, and there's a squirrel. There's a gopher. They might be dire. They might be evil. That's
Dire
about
gopher.
the extent of the evil wildlife and animals in this area. It's completely wide open. It's completely flat. There's nothing nearby, and it's been flattened by countless numbers of festivals and other affairs that have occurred in the past in this site. So it is as perfect as it can be.
Very cool.
Can I ask that
Well.
squirrel and that gopher, like,
Oh, jeez.
what predators are around here?
What have
They're
we
having
done?
trouble?
Really? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
The only predators are big humans like you, and they run away.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I just
Truth.
want to make sure, it's not like, well, we've been getting eaten by this skeleton. I don't know.
Mhm.
You never know.
Yeah. If you want, you definitely listen for the weird tales the animals have to tell.
Yeah.
The stinky ones come out of the ground and grab our necks. That
Yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly. But nope, it's just us. We're the stinky ones.
Let me
Alright.
tell you, here's my Darklands map. Oh, there it is, Ataran. The
Hell
gopher
yeah.
had it.
I think
Go for it.
Octaron's gonna go around town, just talking with people that maybe are taking a quick break or,
Yep.
maybe doing a little work. And Octaron will try to help, but ask of what kind of things they want to see in the circus. Tell them a bit about Circus of Wayward Wonders, and if Octaron happens to learn a bit of, some of the issues plaguing the farmlands or different merchants, then so much the better.
Like a gather information sort of
Yeah,
thing.
maybe like a little gather information. I don't know. Maybe.
Diplomacy check.
All right. Oh, did I really get that free hero point?
You have 2 hero points.
Great. Then I will use one to
Ooh.
roll again.
Yeah, that was a pretty mediocre roll.
Yeah, I rolled a 5 or a 20.
Yep.
Better than that.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. I rolled an 18. 33.
You
Octaron's really good with people now.
Could your luck
Okay.
actually be turning around?
No.
No.
I'm gonna give it to you, and you can relate it to everyone.
Ooh, I like dip load.
I heard that as a dip load, like a load of dip.
Yes.
It gave me a
Onion.
really strange mental picture.
Oh, diplode. I see. Like it's instead of diplomist.
Yeah. I just need to abbreviate everything.
No. That's way cooler. Diplode.
I actually thought you were talking about like the really easy to use Legos.
Oh, nice.
Duplode. Yeah.
Should I immediately relay the information, or are other people doing things, so I might not be able to relay it immediately?
I'm window shopping restaurants.
Okay.
Probably while we all travel together, though, you know.
Yeah, like we're all together. I mean, if Atron talks to somebody over here, I'll check out a shop over here and get like, oh, here's the guy selling fried wraps. Let's get some.
So at one point when we're traveling back down the road again to go to one of the other shops or something, Ataran says, everyone is pretty much talking about how in the last few seasons just the weather's bad and not good for growing, but the harvests aren't good anyway. And the more they try to talk to some of their priests and, oracles, they just seem upset and don't have much to say other than, we will pray and look concerned. That's not too good. They seem a little excited about that stump festival and that they will make sure to go. But everyone seems rather just has bad morale because they are worried about basically their main means of living and making money for food, and let alone making the food itself. So I'm sure the circuits will bring some hope for them, but it seems like the Aeon Towers failing is really impacting them just on a widespread level. I'm sure we would hear such from similar towns the way they talk. Seems like it's just everyone's kind of gossiping about it openly.
I hope there's something we can do to fix them.
Well, besides fixing the towers and the orbs, we're going to have to find the one that was stolen too.
That's true.
At least there's no overwhelming dangers, at least from what I heard, which means if the xulgaths have gotten here ahead of us, they are probably focused on the towers.
Yeah, and I suppose folks mostly spend time on their farms or in town and don't really go to these weird old towers.
Yes, I would assume.
We're assuming it's xulgaths still. You don't know what new nefarious things have begun their work.
Well, we knew those different xulgaths came together at the Moonstone Temple, so they weren't there, so I assumed they left before we arrived, but how long that takes in the Darklands travel, because I doubt they took a boat. Although wouldn't that be odd, but who knows where they come up. That's why if the Opa Vandy, if he knows any maybe entrance or dangerously known caves, that could be something, but we will have to watch carefully. Hopefully he will have at least some lead for us based upon our questions.
Okay. Is there anything else you wish to do before we cut to dinner?
I don't think so. I'll try and make sure to take note of the important places that they'd have to go to pick up things and ingredients and the like.
Sure.
Alhara's a little concerned. She's gonna basically spend some time patrolling around the town, just flitting from here to there, looking around, just basically trying to make sure, they weren't followed, or we just have so many troubles with Mistress Dusklight and everything that she's a little paranoid at this point. So I'd like to roll perception just to get a feel for what's going on in the town as she uses that time to just observe.
Sure.
Ooh, I rolled well, 32.
As far as you can tell, there is no one paying any attention to you. You don't find Cat anywhere. So it looks like you escaped completely unnoticed, or rather unaccompanied by people you don't wish to have follow you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's good at least. And Alhara will go meet up with the others.
Okay. So you head on over to Vandy House, as you all are hungry and you need food as you miss the hot side hot and the cold side cold. But Alhara still has the lukewarm side lukewarm.
There's a note tucked into one of the wraps that says, "You'll be back. They always come back to the hot Hamlin."
Oh my gosh.
Small scroll. He slipped it.
He's slipping
It's one of the
stuff into our food.
Well,
Yep.
it's in not in the sandwich, but like it's wrapped in like a paper or something.
He's reverse pickpocketing us with advertisements.
He has spies. There's spies. There's a spy network between the three
What?
brothers.
Wait,
I
Hamlin's
knew
Hots
it.
is connected to the Red Mantis assassins now?
No. They just have their own internal network.
But
of
what
Their
if?
own-
he has a chef at his. They each have a chef in the other places, so they can keep an eye on each other. It's like a cold war, a hot war.
This is
Or a
insane,
lukewarm
and it is
war.
not canon. Listeners, this
Sorry.
is not canon.
I just assumed they were fighting on purpose to promote the marketing. I did not actually
they
think
definitely-
they'd fight.
They definitely hate each other.
Oh.
Hamlin Hot refuses to partake in a cold war. My
Bazinga.
wars are hot.
A secret war. A secret war.
Ooh.
Hamlin's Coals is the Cold War.
Watch out for shapeshifters.
Yes.
You approach the house. This is a home of obvious wealth constructed of red brick with white granite accents. Wooden shingles cover the roof between 3 tall brick chimneys. At the roof's peak is a weather vane in the shape of a cockatrice. A path of crushed gravel leads to the front stairs as well as around the house. Wide stairs rise to a front porch between stately inset windows. At the base of the stairs is flanked by a pair of decorative stone urns from which grow small plants, and a stone font is set into the wall next to the front doors. As you heard before, this appears to be not just Vandy House, the home of Mr. Vandy, but this is also the local mortuary.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
He is the mortician.
That's fun.
Oh, he works at home. Great. All right, let's go in. A knock.
As you approach the door opens up, and there's Mr. Vandy, and he gives you a big bow, and he says, welcome to Vandy House. Please, come in.
We will do so.
Yep. Atron follows after the others as
Alhara
normal.
cartwheels into the house.
Oh, splendid. And he gives a little clap and applause as you cartwheel in. He says, but do be careful, as we do have a viewing tonight, and we don't want to disturb those in the viewing. So if you can keep some of your circus acts to a minimum tonight. I mean no offense, but let me give you a quick tour of the house. Let me show you around.
Is it okay if Riley comes in too?
Of course. We often have pets come visit those of the deceased. You'd be amazed how frequently that occurs. So you're looking around. The interior floors are polished hardwood. The ceilings are 12 feet high. The walls are made out of plaster and painted the color parchment with mahogany wainscoting. And there's an oil lamp in every single room and provides a luminous amount of illumination. He brings you over to the west side. He says, this is the viewing parlor. You see an elaborate wooden bier that makes up the center of this chamber, a wide bricked fireplace occupying the wall directly behind it. A number of uncomfortable-looking chairs are arranged around the room, interspersed with small end tables. A gray carpet covers the floor. A stained glass window of deep reds and blues creates somber patches of light upon it. A sliding double door stands in the north wall. He shows you and says, yes, this is the viewing chamber. And you actually see a casket. And he says, yes. I usually allow viewings 12 hours a day for up to 3 days to allow travel time for more distant family members. But if the family participates in the custom of the vigil, I allow 24-hour viewings. This man right here, he is currently being viewed, and I might have to excuse myself for family members if they come to view him. And I have a handout, believe it or not.
Ooh.
Why do I feel this is a setup for a player
Yeah.
character death?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like you're just establishing all the framework for it. So when the next one of us dies, we're really dead, and then we get to come in here and be viewed by all the party members.
Oh,
Yay!
I definitely didn't think about that, but yeah, that's a good point.
This entire map is a threat.
Why is there a handout of a coffin? I definitely don't understand that.
That's the viewing.
The viewing.
Why do we need... Oh, no.
It's there's a viewing happening at the same time.
Right. There's someone there who's deceased. And
Awake. It's
come
awake.
in. Yeah, it's awake. Yeah, it's
Yeah, but
3
why
days
do we
to
need
visit.
to see this? This is supposed to be unrelated to us, but this means it's not unrelated to us.
It's happening.
It's just flavor. Don't worry about it. Just because
flavor.
Heiza went through
wake.
the
A flavor
time
wake.
and effort to create a
Ooh,
beautiful
pretty.
handout. And purple. It seems to be his color, by the way. He wears a lot of purple. There's purple on the floor, purple flowers, purple everywhere. It's a purple party.
Hey, Otteron, is purple of any special religious significance?
Atron will think if purple is specific to any religion.
Or the skull and laurel insignia upon the stone bench that this thing's on top of?
No, but you did notice in the front step next to the pole bowl, next to the bell pole was a stone font bearing the engraved symbols of Abadar, Arodin, and Pharasma.
Oh, very nice.
You think he's just covering all of his bases, quite frankly. And purple is probably the least offensive color because it's probably not associated with anyone specifically.
And I hear the dye's cheap too.
He brings you over to the east and he says, oh, this is the front room. You see a comfortable leather sofa and a low polished tea table that stand besides a wide fireplace and mantel. You see comfortable chairs spaced around the room and a rug of dark chartreuse lies beneath the hearth. He says, yes, so let me show you around a little, and then he brings you over to the front, to the side actually. He says, so down these hallways, this is where the kitchen is, and if you need to use the privy, we have a downstairs privy. It's quite nice. So yeah, in the privy you can see a porcelain commode beneath the east window, and the northern portion of the room holds a cabinet with a pitcher and wash basin, hand towels, and bundled with aromatic dried herbs. Quite nice.
Well, continue on.
Yes, he goes up to the north, and he shows you the kitchen. And this is an extremely well-equipped kitchen with an iron grill over a low fireplace next to a brick oven. There's a large chopping block that occupies the center of the room beneath a rack of hanging cutlery. There's counters and storage cabinets on the north wall. The west wall is a stone sink, and you see appears to be a husband and wife that are preparing your delicious dinner. And he explains, oh, this is Martin and Sarah, and they're like, out, the meal is almost ready, out, and he's like pushing Vandy out because he's interrupting them from like getting the meal ready. They're very upset.
You have a lovely home and memoriam space here, yes?
Yes, thank you very much. I spent many years perfecting the art. Let me show you around a bit more. And he continues down the hall and brings you into the room north of the viewing. He says, and this is the dining hall. This is where we're going to be dining tonight. And you see a elegant dining room with a long mahogany table with 10 comfortable chairs, and a sideboard with several bottles of liquor and wine, as well as a small cask of ale. The chandelier is crystal with red quartz and hangs above the tables. And this connects to the viewing area. And also there's a curtain that connects to the servant's kitchen. It says, and there's a pantry and other areas as well, but I won't bore you, and the upstairs is where I live. And sometimes when we have out-of-town guests, I will also put them up there. But let's retire to the front room and talk before we sit down for dinner, and let Martin and Sarah get the feast ready.
Okay, very well.
Excellent.
Suddenly I feel like I'm in the Clue movie.
Mm-hmm. Alhara picks a chair that allows her to sit and still face the doorway as well as the windows, both side and front.
I'm gonna sit next to the fire.
Typical.
It's the only place that's not cold.
Yes, he brings out a small tray with a modest selection of liqueurs. He says, yes, if there's anything you wish to drink, either help yourself or would you like me to prepare something for you?
Mr. Vandy, for your hospitality, please allow me to make the drinks for you and the others.
Oh, no need, Otteron. You don't need to do that. Please. It's
I am
my house.
a talented mixer of liquids and chemicals. I am an alchemist by trade, but maybe also specialist of mixing drinks. Yes?
Ataran is very good.
A mixologist. A mixologist, if you will. I've heard of such a thing. Well, I won't deny you the pleasure of using your arts, so please show me.
I thank you for this. It has been helpful considering my occult studies to focus on something real to serve the body when it is not for the soul. And the drinks can be also nourishing for the soul too. And Ataran wants to make nice fancy drinks for everybody, but also just wants to make sure there's nothing, bad or dangerous in these things. So
Alhara will not have a drink. She spins her finger about, pointing to the Aeon stone orbiting her head.
Hap's not suspicious of any of this, but she can't drink because it's alcoholic.
Because I'll make you a mocktail.
I'd like a mocktail.
Atron makes a fine beverage that just is fizzy and bubbly without any alcohol if Hap prefers.
Because surely we have only met someone nice and can enjoy a nice evening.
Yeah, well, Atron's gotta be the careful one. So, if necessary, I can make like a crafting check, but Atron just wants to make sure nothing smells or seems off. And of course, mixing will always make sure to take a little sip of everything that they make, poured into a separate glass to make sure what they're serving to the others tastes good, and also gives them the opportunity to make sure there's nothing poisonous or dangerous, just taste testing. But we'll be sure to make the finest drinks that they can to serve everybody.
Wow, look at that. Yes, you notice that the bottles are well worn, and it looks like, he obviously entertains a lot of people, especially in their worst moments. So you do not smell anything suspicious. Everything tastes delicious. You have no problems whatsoever. And as far as you can tell, there's nothing shady going on.
Great. Yep. Would you like a crafting check for how good these drinks are, or?
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Great.
You might have to use a hero point if you mess up.
Oh, geez. That would be embarrassing. I rolled a 19 for a 38. These drinks are amazing.
Oh my god, this is great.
Wow.
Vandy is impressed. He's like, oh, the tales of mixologists are true. Surely you must teach me some of your secrets, as I have never tasted anything quite as exquisite as these.
It is about the quality of the ingredients, often benefited by the host. Thank you very much, Mr. Vandy. But also the right application and the pour or shake, stir, perhaps too.
So after sampling many drinks, the Martins, the husband and wife team, come in, and they announce that dinner is served.
Atron smiles.
And Mr. Vandy walks and escorts you all to the dining room.
Do those two work for you, or are you related?
Oh no, the Martins, they live nearby, and they work for me. They're a husband and wife team. They help keep the house in order. They help with the funeral services. They have been in my employ for many years.
They seem very nice.
Yes, they are. And they have a good gig. They live nearby. They have access to the house. They have access to the foodstuffs. They've been doing this for a very long time. We have a good arrangement. But behold, and you walk in, and laid out on the table is an excellent meal of goose roasted in raspberry sauce, artichokes, turnip and barley stew, collard greens in goat cheese, and warm black bread served with fresh butter. There's also a selection of good wines of local vintage as well. A small casket of ale can be found on the side table, next to a cooling pie made from custard and imported lemons.
Wow.
This smells so good. Oh my goodness.
This does smell rather good.
Please, please, sit, eat. And he just starts taking large pieces of goose and raspberry sauce and artichokes and the stew. He's just making sure and that everyone has some. He's taking large helpings and building mountains of food and handing it out to everyone, including Alhara, even though it's like, yes, I know you have that Aeon Stone, but please, I insist, at least smell it if you can't eat it. The smell alone should entice you.
Oh, of course. And she realizes that she's been being rude, and she'll smell and take little, like, nibbles and taster bites of things.
I've
Ooh.
got Riley sitting next to me, so I kind of want to grab like a piece of the meat, and I want to lean over, like real close to where I can whisper something to him without anybody hearing. Hey, buddy, does this smell okay?
Darius has a full mug of ale and a large helping of the stew and like a goose leg, and he's ready. He's not ready. He's not eating. He's waiting for the host, but like you can see the anticipation in his eyes.
Well, as Hap leans over, Riley literally takes the goose out of your hand and starts chomping on it and swallowing it whole. So
Wait, my goose?
no,
my
the
goose.
one that
Okay,
the one
that's
Hap
fine,
had.
that's fine.
And Hap is thinking, yeah, it's probably pretty good, as he's almost taking your arm off with it.
Riley sends his regards to the chefs.
He's like, no, please, eat. And he takes a bite of a goose right away and says, please, as many helpings as you wish.
I'll dig in. I'll eat. I'll try to use etiquette though. I'll do my best.
Yeah, Otteron's making sure to sample most things, and things that they really enjoy they'll eat more of. Was careful checking, the spirits, quote unquote, for any danger, but, is trusting things here now, and unless something like alarms their senses as they eat, they're just enjoying the meal now, and whatever small conversation happens around chewing.
So please, tell me all about your exploits. I want to hear all about the circus and everything you've done with the circus and acts and so forth, so I can help spread the word. I'm sure you're going to be doing advertisements and doing your own samples of acts throughout the town, but anything you can say to help, I will be sure to make sure everyone knows all about your circus.
I think Otteron would look around, and unless someone else jumps into storytelling, Otteron at least would start with how they met, and then roll pretty much into full detail about, the exploits of the circus, but also kind of the adventure and the reclamation of the Aeon Tower and fighting xulgaths, and explain that's why, they asked about them.
Fascinating. That's not what I expected. I expected exploits of circus life and putting on various shows, but sounds like your adventures as well. That's
Both are important. We live and we make sure others live too.
Wow, that's much more exciting than my life. I just try to keep everyone happy here, and I try to keep Kerrick Grange as prosperous as possible, and obviously have to deal with the occasional death. But as you said before, I put together a list, and he brings out the map of the Swordlands, and sure enough, it's similar to the one you saw before. This one has lots of trails on it, so you can see the roads, farm tracks, and trails. And he goes on to explain, he says, I recommend that the greatest exposure would be the 4 principal settlements of the Swordlands. Kerrick, of course, Matin Cleave, Castanley, and Turpin Rove. Turpin Rove is probably the furthest one and the smallest, but as you know, there's a festival coming up. So whichever order you wish to go in, although I would say that you obviously do Kerrick first, since, well, we're here, and then if you want to continue along the way, I feel that would get you the most exposure.
Well, I definitely want to go to Turpin Row. You said that's where the festival is?
Yes, the festival in a few weeks.
I definitely think we should participate in that if at all possible.
Yes, I think you would have a lot of fun there. It's very popular. That's usually the only entertainment for everyone in the area for the entire year, so the addition of a circus will no doubt bring a huge crowd.
That sounds good to me. We maybe try to visit Matten and Castanley beforehand then, kind of traverse the right timeline to make sure we get to Turpin for this celebration, this festival.
Yes, and as for those Aeon Towers you asked about,
Yes.
yes, and he marks it on the map, and you can see here, it's like, well, there's the Wellspring Tower, and that's near Matten Cleave to the northeast, and there's Life Root Stone, that's way to the southwest, that's sort of near the Silwyn Hills in Casterly, and then, of course, I would say the Old Forest Tower, and the Old Forest Tower, well, it's near the forest, what do you know? And that's near Turpin Rove. You know, traditionally the Swarth folk would go to these towers and leave offerings to Aradin for his bounty, although this tradition has fallen out of favor in recent years, especially with the vague, unsettling rumors now circulating regarding the towers.
Vague rumors? What do you mean? What rumors?
He looks around, he's like, well, you know. And then just as he's about to tell you, suddenly the bell rings, and he's like, oh, excuse me, I must attend the front door.
Yes, of course.
And sure enough, there's a couple that want to come in and view the coffin and the dead body in the room next to you where you're enjoying your meal.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, so rude.
Were the doors at least shut between the viewing room and the dining room?
Yes.
Okay.
The doors are shut, so you don't have to witness a poor man lying in a coffin while you're enjoying goat cheese, collard greens, and stew.
Atron continues to eat.
Yeah, just eating, drinking. This is delicious.
After about 20 minutes, he comes back in. He's like, sorry about that. I again told you that this would occasionally occur. Sorry once again. This is an unfortunate aspect of the mortuary trade. I never have a moment to myself.
Understood, but thank you for your hospitality. This is all delicious, he says with a full mouth and not really stopping to breathe.
Yes, it is very much understood. This is important to people. Make sure they have a moment to remember that they have lost and wish that person well on as they reach the boneyard.
So what were we talking about? I forgot exactly. Something about the towers you were saying?
Rumors? Something about rumors?
Oh, yes,
Atron grins a little at Darius.
Rumors, yes. Well, you know, I'm not the man of rumors myself, but supposedly the death of Aradin has caused the power of these towers to fail. And there's
yes,
been,
that is true.
What do you mean that's true?
The power is waning, with Aradin's presence not firmly felt in the world anymore. The power that is sustaining them is faltering. That is partially why we are here, so we will be going to the towers to help with this.
Atron's a little bit of an Aradin expert himself.
Yes, I have studied a lot with Knights of the Aeon Star to learn more.
Well,
we want to help with this.
Is that true? As you know, I am in the elected position of being in charge of the Kerrick Grange, and I try to keep everyone bountiful and prosperous. So if what you say is true, that would make my life so much easier, as we've had nothing but hardship and smaller yields of crops year after year. You're not pulling my leg. I mean, this sounds almost too good to be true. You can honestly do this?
Yep, we're being very serious.
I mean, we're going to try.
Yeah, we have already done this once for the tower that we previously visited, the one that I said we stopped the xulgaths at. So we will go to the others and also make sure that their orbs are functioning again.
Wow, that's That's amazing. That would make. I don't even know what to say. He seems like completely flummoxed by this news. He didn't expect any of this whatsoever. He's just been dealing with this issue for so long, for so many years, and it's just been so grating on him. Plus the running the mortuary as well. He just seems just blown away by this offer of yours.
It is why we asked for info about the towers. Anything you know, or maybe people you know that we should talk to that know about the towers or in these towns will be very good, let alone anything about xulgaths, because they are meddling and causing some trouble. But, well, it is a long historical conversation that I can tell you some other time. But they have some right to be angry. Yes. It is complicated and sad. I do not know if you are an erudite, but he stole those orbs from them long ago.
No, I know nothing of the orbs other than they supposedly brought good luck and good fortune to the Swordlands, but other than that, I do not know the history very well. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. I was not there. None of us were, but it does seem that these orbs were once these xulgaths, and Eridan took them, and in fashioning up the isle, placed these orbs and cast great magic to kind of unite them and sustain this land and the weather to make this good growing and good farmlands. And now that he is gone, they are losing their power. This magic is failing. So we need to go to these towers and fix them. When we have already done one, but I'm sure we will have some difficulty with xulgaths and maybe other creatures involved. But it is nice to have a good meal before we get further on this task. Thank you.
Well, in that case, hopefully you will still be able to put on your performances while you're investigating the towers. Is that going to be an issue, you think?
So far we have done both, and we have good acts.
I think we can absolutely do it. Anything we put our mind to.
Yes.
We've done it before.
Well, as you can see, the towers are only a few miles from each of the main cities, so I think you could easily bring your axe to the 3 main cities I was explaining, and you can also visit the 3 towers as well. There is a 4th tower, but that's much farther to the north, and I don't know much about it. But I know there's another nearby tower as well.
Near the belt, right? Yes?
Yes, it's near the town of Willowside, but I don't really know much about that area of the world.
We will go in time.
Well, this has just been so illuminating, but I have to admit, you appear to not just be circus folk, but heroes of some renown. Maybe, and he sort of looks over in a hushed tone and goes, maybe you can actually hear or maybe even address an actual problem that I myself have of a personal nature.
Yes, we are happy to. That is what we do. Yes.
And with that, we'll do that as the cliffhanger.
Ooh, nice. Good cliffhanger.
Cool.
Every so often, these bodies I'm preparing, they just like wake up and they're all like, "Oh, let me eat your brains." So it's a problem.
What?
I didn't tell you, but 20 minutes ago, the guy woke up in the other room. I didn't want to disturb your meal.
He ate.
He's
my
all...
servants.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's just a morgue. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen?
The viewings happen. They just have to chain down the bodies.
Dessert is ruined.
You've been listening to Roll for Combat 3-Ring Adventure, a Pathfinder actual play podcast. If you have a question or comment for the show, please visit us at rollforcombat.com. You can also find us and play various games on our Discord channel at discord.rollforcombat.com. You've been listening to Roll for Combat. Until next week, always remember that Mountain Dew is not one of the 4 food groups.